Judgment is a reflection of our own internal pain, fear, and feelings of not being good enough. And our judgment, frustration, irritation with another person is us desiring and needing for someone else to be different from how they are so that we can be okay. We have basically placed the power in their hands. So in both scenarios of judgment, it actually has nothing to do with the person or thing outside of us, and everything to do with where we've placed our source of power. Is it, do you have power over me, or do I have power over me? And how much we've decided to engage our time and energy with this person or experience or condition or thing. And so when we are judging someone and being frustrated with them and needing them to be different from whatever they're doing, the first thing I like to remember is when people show you who they are, believe them. Meaning, I'm a total advocate of giving grace, giving patience, conflict resolution, finding a way for us to live and coexist in harmony. But I also feel like there's a sliding scale of how much time and life energy and interaction that we give to another person. And so if somebody's acting in a certain way, of course, in a way that's painful or irritating or frustrating or just not meeting your values and standards for how you want to be and how you want to be treated, then of course it warrants a conversation. Hey, this hurts. Can we do this differently? Can we talk about different ways to go about this? But after a certain period of time, I feel like people's patterns emerge. And if they're showing and exhibiting a pattern that is painful to you right now, or that hurts you or diminishes you or presses that button in you that goes, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I don't deserve to be respected. Oh, this person's not respecting my space, my time. They're not acknowledging me. They're not valuing me. Or, they just don't share the same work ethic. Maybe they don't live with integrity or the level of integrity that you desire around your life. The environment we surround ourselves with, including and especially the people we have around us, highly affects our state. It affects our hormone levels. It affects our cognitive functioning. It affects our entire existence. No matter how mindful you are. I mean, I'm sure there's levels of enlightenment, but when we experience somebody and their patterns emerge, believe them. And so what I feel like that means is don't stay longer than is healthy for you. And that could mean fully removing yourself from the situation, or it could just mean spending less time, especially if it's a family member or somebody you really can't not be around 100% of the time. Just lowering the levels of time and energy. It's giving less time, engaging less, but allowing our judgment or sense of frustration to be an indicator not of why that person's so irritating and bad and not right, but taking it back and letting it reflect to us, okay, something's going on here. This friction, this emotional friction is telling me that something needs to change. Is it the amount of time I'm giving? Is it the amount of energy I'm giving? Do I need to set a boundary? Do I need to have a conversation? And when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Oprah said that, believe them. And she says, believe them the first time. Often when people show you their character, unless life gives them some huge impetus to change, they're not gonna be on the track for changing. Unless you meet somebody who's, very much into self-growth and self-evolution, so just get to know them. I'm not saying, cut them out of your life, but be aware and understand that our judgment and our frustration and irritation with needing them to be different usually means something needs to change. And I think the first thing is noticing their patterns, believing them, not staying in environments that are unhealthy for us and continuing to trigger us and actually hindering our own blossoming, our own sense of being empowered and loved and valued. But the second part of that is really taking ownership back. We have the keys to the kingdom. We are the gatekeepers of our inner sanctuary. And when we find ourselves judging outside of us, we've basically said, you have control now over whether or not I feel calm, peaceful, safe, at ease within myself. And now we're in this place of powerlessness. And of course we're frustrated, because when we are powerless and hopeless and we don't have control over anything and nothing is changing and it's not in our hands to do anything, of course we feel stuck between a rock and a hard place, and we're gonna just end up screaming at this thing or this person in front of us. And at the end of the day, anger, frustration, irritation, those emotions hurt us, nobody else, and they diminish our capacity to take effective, efficient, empowered action. And so instead of staying in that place of judgment and criticism and frustration, taking the power back. Oh, I am in command of how I feel. I'm in complete control and power over my chosen reaction here. Yes, I feel irritated because your work ethic is way lower than what I hold myself to. Or I'm very irritated with you because I like things to be on time and you're always 30 minutes late and I find it disrespectful. Just basic examples. Noticing the irritation and then taking the keys to your kingdom back. Returning to being the gatekeeper of your inner sanctuary and, allowing the irritation to pass through your consciousness like a cloud passing through the sky, and returning to that centeredness and coming back to being in charge of yourself. And making a choice. If this is somebody that you work with, maybe you work with them less, or spend less time, give less energy, or if you have to work with them, getting it done and having no other conversations outside of that, and just accepting the fact this is how they're going to show up. I'm in charge of how I show up, and not lowering your own standards. I'm going to show up with grace and with steadiness and with the same high standards of work ethic and time that I have, no matter what. I value being centered and standard or steady, but showing up in a way that you value with your own character, and not allowing somebody outside of you or something outside of you to affect the choices you make based on your own internal standards and values and character and who you want to be. Stay focused and stay the course on how you want to show up in this world. Be the change that you want to see, and that is not as easy or simple as it sounds. It's in the small moments. How do you treat that person who cut you off? How do you respond to that family member who knows how to get in there and press your buttons? How do you reply to your neighbor who's in a bad mood today? Or that coworker who's sloppy and their work ethic is awful. How do you show up in these moments? Are you being the leader that you want to be? Are you being the character that you want to be? Are you living to the same standards to which you hold the world around you 100% of the time? So using judgment of others and our frustration to really come back to ourselves and reclaim our power over who we are and how we feel, and cultivating that inner sanctuary that is steady and that is blossoming and illuminated from within, and coming back to that sense of being valued and loved inside first, so it shines out and is reflected back to us. I hope this helps, and I hope you have a beautiful, magnificent start to your week. Lots of love.